Welcome back, guys and girls. Well, as always, I'm working on something because something always has to break down. I've learned my lesson though. Every time I put all four tires on a vehicle, something breaks down on it within a week. Never fails. I'm gonna have to quit doing that. Anyway, you might notice there's something missing right here on the top of this 2000 Dodge Dakota. The alternator. Yeah. Driving from work over to the bank and the radio quit. I thought that was a little odd, but the radio has been screwing up for years and it does random things. Display comes on, goes off, radio still works. Speakers go in and out. So, whatever. Went in the bank, came back out a few minutes later, truck would not start. Everything worked, except for the radio. Truck would not start. So yeah, alternator went out. So I have a reman alternator on order, supposedly going to be here Friday, but I don't trust USPS, especially when they wanted $16.99 to get it here by the 7th, Friday to the 10th, or they wanted $145.99 to get it here by Thursday, the 6th. No. So anyway, let me show you what I found. So this is the alternator that's always been on it. It's a Denso. There is your number. I also have a brush kit and a regulator on order. So alternator's supposedly coming from Texas. Rebuild kit with bearings and everything. 28 bucks coming out of Florida. Well, in the meantime, I got to drive this thing. And I can actually leave home and drive all the way to work without the alternator running. Without the alternator charging, I should say, because it has to be in there. But then I got to charge the battery up, both ends, at work and at home. And luckily it hasn't been raining and all that, because we have headlight laws. Wipers have to be on, headlights have to be on, all that good stuff. And I'm sure that would get me just enough draw to strand me on the side of the road. So anyway, took the alternator apart. You might notice that's nice and clean, that's burnt. Yeah. One's nice and shiny, one's all dark, and I've filed on this one a little bit to take the corners off, but that's why that one's shiny there. But yeah, so this one's not touching and it's arcing. And so what's odd about this alternator is when you start it, it'll charge for a couple of minutes and then it shuts off. And I guess what is happening is as everything gets warm and it expands, it actually loses contact. So I go to my trusty little green metallic bin drawers that I've had for God knows 30 some years, and look what I find. Now I, for the life of me, can't figure out how to get them out of there. Looks like they're molded in, but I will tell you a trick I have done in the past on many things, and that is you just take another brush and you stack it on top and you push it back in and then you install it, and it works. So that's what I'm going to do, because I need to drive this thing and I'm curious to see how well it works after I do this. But it really only needs, this is Tuesday, it really only needs to get me till the weekend. Cross your fingers, if USPS gets my parts, one set or the other, here. So I'm gonna put this together, we're gonna throw it back on the truck, we're gonna see what happens. All right, so I had to thin this down on the backside because it was too wide this way to fit in there. It already has, it's pre-arced. It was too long, obviously, to put in on top. So I just cut a little bit off the back. I'll try to move my fat hand out of the way here in a second. So I have it where it sits in there. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it back together with that stacked on top. And like I said, I've done this before to electric motors and other things, and it's always worked. As long as you put a long enough piece. Don't put a little bitty short piece in there, because it will wear for a little bit and then it'll just rip it out of there. Make sure you put a long piece in, as long as you can. And we're gonna put it back together, see what happens. Okay, so it's back together, and literally all I did was take some Scotch-Brite, put it on the shaft, see if I can find where I'm pointing to, put it on the shaft, spun the pulley on the other end, and you can see I polished all that crud off down in there. Not perfect, it's still got grooves in it, but I polished all the carbon off. As I was putting this in, I simply just held it up a little bit, pushed that carbon brush back in there on top of the other brush, and bolted everything in. I have done nothing else to it. I'll put the covers back on and everything, and I'll mount it, and we'll check it out. All back together. Time to stick it back on the engine. Okay guys, alternator is all back installed. Everything's hooked up. I just took the battery charger off, so you can see she's checking a little high right at the moment. I'm gonna start it up. Hopefully nothing vibrates and you guys fall out of camera view, and we'll see what happens. Well, looky there. That may not be a quick charge, but before the voltage was 13.66 when it was charging. It would jump up to 13.72. It would go down to 13.5, and then after a couple of minutes, it would just shut off completely. Another thing I want to look at is the gauge on the dash saying it's charging? Because it didn't on the way home. Looky there. Well, they say the proof is in the pudding. So I'll have to drive it to work tomorrow. I'll still have my battery charger. I'll still have a spare battery with me, and of course all the tools to swap it out on the side of the road if I need to. But I think this will get me through until this weekend so I can redo it proper. And honestly, if I had redone both brushes in that thing, it would probably go for years. Thanks for watching, guys. Okay, so I kicked on the headlights. I have the blower on high. The air conditioner is kicking in and out. And if you'll watch, it's holding fairly steady, and it goes up when the air conditioner compressor kicks out. There she cycled out. Now it'll drop back down a little bit. But I'm not going to be running the air conditioner this week. If anything, I'll be running the wipers and the headlights together. So I think this repair is a success.